People love violence. No matter how much people deny it, no matter how much they preach for peace, they do. We do. There's something remarkably satisfying about beating the shit out of someone. And what better way to do this than with video games, especially beat-em-ups. Beat-em-ups were fast-paced action games where you would beat up everyone that was in your way. Games like Double Dragon, Battletoads, Turtles in Time, Final Fight all were really popular in the 80s. In fact, you could say the golden age of beat-em-ups was between 1987 and 1992, more or less. So what popular beat-em-up am I gonna talk about today? The PeaceKeepers! What's that? You don't know what it is? Don't worry. No one really knows it even exists. This game came out in 1994, where the beat-em-up genre was dying down thanks to fighting games like Street Fighter 2 and its new versions. So let's see what this game has to offer! Bam! That's a good intro. Straight to the point and title screen. No bullshit long ass updates, no pointless bunch of company logos and loading times. So far, so good. So you get two modes, story game and versus game. Versus is obviously the multiplayer, and up to 4 players are allowed. Holy shit! Can you imagine 4 people playing on the Super Nintendo? That was actually made possible thanks to the Super Nintendo multi-tap. Yeah, those accessories for consoles no one buys? Yep. Pretty brave to try that at that age. The versus mode is pretty much the same as the main game, except you battle with other players on a wrestling ring. You can choose the item that appears in the middle of the stage, and if you want to include hazards like electricity and mines. It's actually pretty fun. Each player can choose their own character and even the same as the other. That's pretty much it. The main game can be played single or multiplayer, co-op. As many other beat-em-ups, you can choose to turn off the friendly fire or leave it on. There's not really any use in trying to get competitive here, unless you just want to mess around with your friend. Whoa, whoa! So the main characters are generic pretty boy, generic sexy girl, token tough black guy, and this monster dude? Interestingly enough, all characters play differently. Flynn is pretty much all around, Echo focuses on speed and kicks, Al is a heavy hitter and a little slow, Prokop is super slow but very strong. Undoubtedly, Flynn is the best character to use. He runs well, his attacks have a decent range, and he's really easy to use. Prokop is the worst. He cannot dash at all, and his punches have a bit of a lag. There are other characters to unlock as you progress in the game. You can unlock Norton and Orbot. Clever name there, game. Right off the bat, did you notice something missing? The music? Yeah, this game has no music. You lure me in with the awesome title intro, and then nothing. I guess you could choose your own soundtrack at least. Let's try it. The controls are pretty simple. You can punch, you can jump, you have a special attack and a super. The special attacks vary amongst the characters. The supers are pretty much the same for each character. They may have a different animation, but they're all a full screen attack that kills most regular enemies in one hit and do decent damage on bosses. Flynn is the only character in the game with 2 supers. This one though is only activated when you have 10% health or less. Boy, I sure don't know what that's referencing. You can pick up items on the way by breaking stuff. Knives, pipes, daggers, and even health items. The way you use the items though. So here we encounter our first enemy. Wait a second. Fnord? Fucking Fnord? That sounds like one of those fanfiction names 13-year-olds make up in an attempt to sound cool. Is that even a real word? Oh, and what's this asshole's name? The enemies come to you in waves, and you can't progress to the next screen until you've beaten them all. This also means you can't go back to the previous rooms. Okay, that's the last of them in this room. Wait, what? You can go back here? The other rooms you can't. Well, let's see where this leads. Who's this? I'm sorry that I could not help you with DM, but I was busy writing my new autobiography? What an asshole. An interesting thing about this game is that there are many branching paths. You can choose where to go on several points on the stage, and this leads to a different section and other bosses. This can also lead to another stage. So you and a couple of other people are going up against an evil organization and its head researcher, Iago, who's trying to perfect the world in his image. All you gotta do is beat up their lackeys and make your way towards his base. You come across some of the failed prototypes throughout the game. Like this part, you have to fight this huge ass boss. Yeah, die motherfucker! What? A girl? Wait a second. An evil egotistical scientist from an evil organization experiments on people, turning them into mutants, in order to create an army of superhumans and rule the world. And one of the main characters is a prototype from said organization. It's just like that game, Silent Hill. When you die, you can choose which character to play as, and you respawn as a guitar pick. And trust me, you will see this a lot. While it's not insanely hard, this game can be frustrating. Oh boy. That's definitely a game over. What? She survived? Video game logic. Hey, doesn't Echo look a little familiar? Long sleeve jacket, white shirt, long brown hair under a cap, short shorts? Huh. Why, she looks exactly like Julie from Zombies Ate My Neighbors. The only difference is the color of the clothes. Aside from that, they're pretty much the same. The cool thing is, with color edit in the options menu, I can work a little magic to make her look as close as possible to Julie. You can do this with the other characters, including the enemies and bosses. But why do that? You got fucking Julie to play as. You fight a bunch of Blanca mutants, a couple of thugs, 2 giant wrestlers, and other weird looking enemies. You fight in streets, in an airport, and even on a plane. There are various locations, and everything is different enough to keep it interesting. There's a part in the game where you come across a pirate claiming to join your team. Not today!
Impressive. Most impressive.
He's actually one of the tougher bosses. After you beat him, you then proceed to get game over. Seriously, this stage is balls. The enemies gang up on you, and those fucking ninjas and their fucking swords and their fucking stupid ass names. I got a bunch of game overs before getting to the last stage. I used to play this game a lot when I was a kid, but I never did beat it. This is one of those games that, while they're not the best or even remarkable, they're pretty fun with your friends. Usually beat 'em ups are pretty straightforward, but this game actually has a lot of options with the color ed mode, the branching paths, and unlockable characters. The graphics are pretty good, the gameplay is self-explanatory, and the music... What? This game has music? Would I recommend this game? Not really, unless you like mindless fun with a lot of 90s cheese. This game is gonna be a little lackluster to you, average at most. So, my final rating for this game is a fucking Fnord out of 10. Make of that what you will.